So for me, my sort of journey into the Halo universe started with the release of the first game. And I remember I was actually working overtime at Electronic Arts, and I was working really late, and I went out and I picked up this game, and I thought I was just going to play for a couple of hours and then go home. And I ended up staying up all night at the office and finishing the game from beginning to end. I was completely obsessed with it. And then as soon as I finished it, I was dead tired. It was the next morning, and I started it again. I mean, I was that taken by the universe, and I think a lot of that is just the epic sci-fi nature of the Halo universe. And the first time that I actually set foot on the Halo and just the size and scale of it all, and it just felt bigger than I could possibly hold in my head. And as a game designer, really experiencing the kind of sandbox systemic nature of the gameplay approach was really inspiring. I could sort of deconstruct all of the different systems and the way that Bungie had crafted that experience, and so as a game designer, it was really, really inspiring to me. So when I came to 343, there are a bunch of different reasons why I wanted to come to the studio. First and foremost, I was driven by a love of Halo. I was also drawn by just the level of talent that we had here. And when I came, we only had, I think, maybe 30 people, but they were 30 of the most talented people that you can imagine from all across this industry, and everyone had been brought together by their shared love and passion for Halo. And the challenge that the studio was taking on was really incredibly ambitious, and some might even say crazy, and that was really attractive to me. The idea of trying to create a studio from scratch and bring all of these people together from across the industry to ship the next great title in one of the greatest series of games that has ever been made. There's nothing more ambitious than that, and that was really motivating. So when I think about Halo, the things that really stand out to me as being core tenets of the franchise and the universe is, first and foremost, a sense of heroism. I think the Master Chief is a perfect embodiment of that concept of heroism. I think the sense of wonder, the sense of mystery, that there's a massive universe out there that's filled with things that are beyond our comprehension, things that we could only hope to try and barely scratch the surface of. Another big one for me is creativity. The fact that Halo supports creativity in the way that you play as a player. It doesn't tell players, hey, you have to do it this way. It says, here's a bunch of different tools. Here's an obstacle that you have to overcome. You figure it out. You figure out your own solution. Put these things together and choose your own way. And so it's empowering players to make choices that are then rewarded through gameplay and to be creative in combat. But more than that, I think if you look at the history of the franchise, it's rewarded creativity in other ways. It's rewarded creativity with Forge, with save films, allowing players to create their own experiences and tell their own stories and share that with people. Another part of Halo that I always talk about, which is there's a belief in the potential of humanity. And I think this is kind of really important because Halo has a kind of a hopeful feel to it. And I think you could tell a lot of the stories that take place in the Halo universe and tell them in a more cynical light, and it would feel completely different. And part of that hopefulness is this belief that humanity is predestined to achieve something greater, and that humanity is something worth fighting for. And so those are all kind of things that I think that are really key to Halo, and things that we absolutely need to preserve. When I came to 343 and we were assembling the team here, one of the biggest challenges that we faced was trying to find the balance between our reverence for the Halo universe and the work that had been done there, and the desire to kind of live up to all of these expectations that the community of gamers might have for us, and our desire to take risks and change things and drive things forward. And ultimately, we had to give ourselves permission to take those risks. So I think one of the areas with Halo 4 that we're really trying to push beyond where Halo's been in the past is we have a much clearer focus in terms of storytelling and character development. And if you look at past Halo games, I think the Master Chief has been in some ways He's an amazing hero, but he has been treated almost as a vessel for the player to sort of pour themselves into. And when you look at a lot of the surrounding fiction that's been written, the Master Chief, John, has been explored in much more detail, and that's something that really hasn't come through in the games. And that's something that we very much want to bring forth through the campaign of Halo 4 is examine Master Chief as a human being, put him in new situations, force him to face new threats and new challenges that are maybe pushing him to the edge of his capabilities in a way that he's never been pushed before. And through that process, kind of redefine who he is as a human being and a hero. And so there's a lot of focus from our team in the story that we want to tell, and telling that in a deeper, more character-driven manner. And so for me, players that play through the campaign of Halo 4, my hope is that they come away with a much deeper sense of emotional impact as a result of that story.